Back, awesome action toy fans and subscribers. Today, another JoyToy Warhammer 40k figure. This is the Ultramarines, the Primaris Captain in Gravis or Gravies. I like the Gravies one because I like gravy. In the Gravis or Gravis Armour. Looks pretty cool on the artwork. Doesn't appear to be that many new parts compared to what we've seen before, but we will see when we open up and have a closer look. Looks pretty cool on the back. I'm looking forward to this. Nice to have another character figure. And this one says 16 centimeters. That'll be the biggest yet. But I believe it's to the top of these little spike thing there. But we will see when I open this up in a moment. Looking pretty cool. Again, as I said, nothing appears to be that new on it. The sword perhaps, and maybe a couple other small bits. But it's a good use of parts, I reckon. It looks fantastic on the pictures. So let's open this up and see what it's like. So I'll be back in an instant. Okay, here he is. He comes with a base. He comes with this gun, an alternate hand, helmeted head, and a sword. Now, I will say, the Chaos stuff I reviewed the other day came with 0 bases. However, I was sent a little box separately, and inside this box I have 6 bases. So I'm assuming these are for the Chaos since they didn't come with bases. Also, the I was expecting one in my Space Wolves Invicta War suit, but that didn't have one. So maybe that doesn't come with any of them, I don't know. But I got these the other day, so at least my Chaos ones now have bases too. So the bases are very simple. It's got like a nuclear sign there, obviously not painted. The gun looks fantastic. Now, I'm not sure if we've seen this actual gun before. I think we have, but I don't remember seeing the shells on the strap. And this strap's in brown, not in black. That looks really quite cool. And the paint job is really nice. Subtle on the weathering, but good enough. It does look great. That red adds a lot to it. This sword is different to obviously the Chaos sword we saw on the Terminator, and different to the sword on the Liberian, but still very nice. Again, that can work with your 1/12 scale figures as well, just the sheer bulk of it. They're very, very nice. Alternate head, or rather his helmeted head. Let me get a bit of a zoom in on this one. There we go. Looks cool. In fact, I like that a lot. I think that looks really, really, really nice. And all the heads, no matter if they're Chaos, Ultramarines, or whatever, were there from a few months ago, or now are all interchangeable. It's the same system. They might have to warm up the head first. It pops onto the barbell joint. And then he has an alternate hand. So this alternate hand is just basically a gun hand with a finger ready to go by the sort of trigger guard. And his standard hand, his default hand, he comes with on his right hand is for holding the sword. So my first impressions of him, he looks really good. The joints feel a lot more sturdy than previous releases. They might have fixed a few issues there, but we'll find out when I do the articulation, have a proper play in a moment. Nothing I don't like at the moment, but we will see. So let's have a closer look. Let's bring him closer to the camera. Let's have a little zoom in there. There we go, a little bit of a focus. Head sculpt is really nice. Not sure about those. Are they called laurels? The nice foot just popped off. I'm not sure about the gold leaves on his head. Actually, the thing I don't like, same with the Liberian, where they got this sort of protection here. It's really hard to pop out heads and pop heads back in because they've got much room to work with. Very nice looking. Now, let me just pop his foot out. That just his foot in, sorry, that just popped out. That's not an issue, I hope. It might be an issue, I don't know, so maybe that's something. He looks really cool. Lovely work on the chain, the weathering on these sort of bones, these things hanging down there. Nice paintwork there on the tubing on his one leg. He's got the tubing. Interesting. Like we saw in the aggressors had the tubing on both legs. Same sort of belt system here, or slightly different to the aggressors. We can look at that in a moment. For a similar looking gun on the arm there. power pack we've seen before, the backpack. Obviously this part's a bit different. The nozzles, which should turn and look in a moment. Nice cloak. The detailing there. Loving that pauldron on his shoulder. Very, very nice. A great looking all-round figure, I have to say. Now, oops, wrong way. Hopefully his articulation will be fine, and his joints, or his ankle joint, won't keep popping out, and I'll have a look at that in a moment. He does look good. Very, very good. So what I'll do now is I'll do the articulation. I'll then have a quick look at him compared to some other figures, look at the similarities, particularly with the aggressors and maybe the chaplain, and we'll go from there. So let's have a look at his articulation. So I'm expecting the nozzles to move on this backpack. Yeah, they move, so they do rotate. That was missing on the Chaos ones. One of them it twisted, but I'm not sure if it actually was meant to. I don't want to force it. Head, he can go side to side. He can go, he can turn, and he can go forwards, backwards. But that is going to pop out. If it pops out, it's going to be very hard to put back in with that lid, that ridge there. Shoulders, his right arm will go on a ratchet all the way around. His left arm won't, because he's got that ammo belt, but it could do otherwise. The pauldron is on the joints. Now, one thing with these pauldron joints, it's a fantastic idea, but they should have the joint right at the base. If it's right at the base, it means that this have a lot more motion to move and not impede on their lateral articulation, if you understand what I mean. So I think that could be slightly better designed to improve the articulation. Other side will be very similar, hardly anything. It's got a joint on the pauldron again, but it's not enough to really get much lateral articulation. But he's a big bulky guy in armor, so what do you expect? Bicep bend. Now he does have a bicep twist, really stiff on him though. His bicep bend is phenomenal, well over 90 degrees. And you can see the wrist has a barbell in to the wrist socket and into the hand, so it's fantastic wrist articulation, and it's in all directions, and it can turn. Bicep, this has got a twist here. Bicep bend on this arm here is 90 degrees, which is amazing for the bulk. There is nothing on the wrist, just the bicep swivel. Nothing on the hands there. Could he hold a sword in that hand? He might be able to. In fact, I think he could possibly hold a sword. I'm just going to digress from the articulation in that power fist hand. And there. Sort of. Not great, but he can sort of hold it. Okay, back to articulation. So he has a trunk that can twist. There's no real dip. There's a small forwards backwards, but there's no side to side dip. He has a waist. If you add the waist and trunk together, you get a lot more motion, but it's lacking a little bit on the side to side. Hips, hardly anything, having that bulk in the armor there. And these parts on the sides, which don't have articulation as far as I can see. Forwards, or a little bit. Forwards is, it's dropping off again. Forwards is tiny, but you would expect that. I might have to, after this review, put a bit of PVA glue, let it dry around that joint opening, then push the foot back in. Backwards is actually really quite good, considering that it's going out to the side a little bit. There is a thigh twist. The cloak is a soft material. You can take it off, or can you? No, the backpack is fixed, not like, or actually you probably could force it off, but I don't want to. Not like when I looked at the Chaos Lord just yesterday. His backpack can come off. This one looks like it's fixed. Double kneecap with the cloak in the way, and with the sculpt, he's only going to get like 90 degrees on this one, because that little bar thing on his leg, and this one's got the cable attached, but he does get about 90 on that too. There is a foot twist, but my foot's are slightly loose. The tippy toe is non-existent. However, the dorsiflexation is pretty good. You can see that he can lean forwards, but his big feet keep him upright, which is pretty cool. Don't think I can lean forwards that far without falling over. And then his feet also have the in and outward swivel, and they have the tippy toe. It just looks like that on this leg that's not pushing in far enough on the actual joint. So I might need a bit more brute force on that. These are really thick joints, so they're actually quite strong. Let's have a little... Okay, that looks to be better in than it was previously. So really nice articulation. So I do like that a lot. So if we do a quick comparison with the aggressor, because they've got similar power gloves, similar weapon on the hands, not quite the same. Got the ammo chain. The ammo chain on the aggressor is different. You've got obviously got this red wire. You've got these ridges around here, which you don't have on this guy. Also, you see that they are much wider on the aggressor than on the captain. And why the captain only has one cable from one leg and not cables on both legs like the aggressor, I'm not quite sure. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments. Yeah, so some similarities there. In terms of how the armor looks, appears to be identical for the lower legs, upper legs, apart from the side parts here. Body looks to be the same, upper body same, shoulders and different. Obviously the hand is slightly different, not quite as chunky, fingers not quite as long on the captain. And also this part of his head appears to go over slightly more. Am I telling a lie there? No, it looks about the same actually, looking at them both here. Okay, so they say he's, was it 16 centimeters? Let me have a look of him compared to the actual chaplain, and we can see here that no, the chaplain is a touch taller, so the height is obviously to the top of the spike there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set him up in an action pose, and then I'll come back and we can take a quick look at him in an action pose and with some other figures. So back in an instant for you guys. For the Emperor! For the Imperium! Simple action pose, very quick to do. Obviously, without having a huge range of motion, needs to be quicker to pose. Balance is really easy because of the big feet. He does look really good. He's going to have fantastic shelf presence with your other figures and other toys. Looks really good. I haven't put the gun in his hand. I would have to change hands for that to fit properly, since this hand is more suited for the sword which he is holding obviously at the moment. Very, very nice. He does have a great aesthetic about him, it does have to be said. He looks pretty good. The paintwork is good as well. Okay, so I'm going to change the hands over and go to his gun. I'll also try and change the head over as well, so we can get a look at him with his head on. So back again in an instant for you guys. Okay, here he is with his helmet on and his gun. I think he looks better with that gun than actually holding his sword here. The helmet was not easy to change. I had to take the peg out of the neck part and then heat up the head, put the peg in the head, then put the head back into the neck part of the body there. So, you know, as I suspected, it wasn't easy to change, but he's easy to pose. He looks great. Do I think it looks better with a helmeted head? I think I prefer him without the helmeted head in this instance, purely because, not because this head isn't good. This head is fantastic, one of my favourite heads, but because this head really limits the articulation, because it's more bulky and it's got hardly any space in there to move. So look, he's got a small left and right. You can just about turn. You've got small fingers, a bit easier, and there's a small forwards backwards, so it's very limited articulation. There's slightly more when he's got his normal head there. Just wish he's had more lateral movement. Head getting stuck because of the bulk. More lateral movement on his shoulder for a slightly better pose here. But look at that, he poses really quite easily. Those big feet just make such a big difference for for balancing. Now he's ready to face the... don't even need his stand. He's ready to face the incursion of chaos that's going to be coming for him. Since they are now new to my toy collection, they'll be coming for his head, I'm pretty sure. Ah! Die, 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 stand up. And my chaos guy doesn't want to stand. Come on. There we go. Now, obviously, he is bigger. He's a bigger figure by a little bit because he is a Primaris Captain, and obviously he's a Gravis or Gravis, which is my favourite. His Gravis Armour is going to make him bigger too. So we do a little side by side, get both standing up relatively straight first of all, and we can see the size difference between the two. This Captain is a big boy. He will tower over pretty much anything 118, except being something like Groot or obviously Sentinels or Galactus or anything like that. But he is a big, big lad. Look at that. He is approaching a head taller than your Chaos. He is a big boy for sure. And obviously with the aggressors, he's going to be around the same size. And he was a touch shorter than the Liberian. Now, to give you an idea, if I get a normal Ultramarines figure, this is the pilot again from the Invicta Warsuit. Now we're looking at a considerable difference in height. If I want to make this even more extreme, I'll grab a normal JoyToy figure, the maintenance guy I always use for my comparisons, and then we can see a rather big difference in height there. This Captain is a great looking figure, decent articulation all things considered, just that his foot was a bit loose, seems to be fixed now that I've pushed it in a long way. His gun is fantastic. The only thing really again is that head is really hard to put in and out, and you lose a lot of articulation by putting in that head because it's not much space for him to move inside there. But that's just a small thing for such a great looking figure. And again, that gun just looks so good. Well worth getting, I think. A great addition to the line, a great addition to your collection. The paint really pops. But again, of all their 40k releases so far, there's no sort of battle weathering. There's weathering, there's some inking, some dry brushing, but they're all like, hey, we're almost crispy new from the factory clean. You know, there's no sort of battle damage weathering stuff. If they do a battle damage version of stuff, I think that would be really good too. Okay, this is Awesome Action Toys. I am signing out, saying please like, share, subscribe, click on the notification icon, stay up to date, latest news, reviews, videos, etc. And check out the other stuff on my channel. There's over 1,000 videos for you guys to enjoy. Stay happy, keep collecting. Bye-bye.